Hi everybody, this is a follow-up video on the one I already made about unboxing my new Leica M-P. And in this one I would like to just give you a quick overview of the camera, the functions, the buttons and the menu. And then at the end I will go into some details about some things that I'm not so happy about or that maybe I didn't quite understand correctly yet. So basically the camera is structured like this. You have the front with a function button here. The function button in connection with the little wheel here serves as an exposure correction, exposure compensation system. It's not so easy to handle because you will have to at the same time press the button in the front, and it's pretty stiff, and then turn the wheel on the back to set the exposure compensation. However, it works. You can also set the exposure compensation to run only through the wheel, but that is really very prone to missetting, because you will, this is kind of, you know, very sleek, and you will end up turning the wheel without wanting it, so you will change the exposure compensation. Then you have the lens release button as usual. Then you have on the MP, you have the frame selector, the viewfinder frame selector. You don't have that on the regular M240, you have it on the MP. Then you have your speed selection, and you can set it from 1/4000th of a second all the way down to 8 seconds bulb, and the A for the aperture priority. Then you have your movie button here. That's a dedicated movie button. As far as I understood, you cannot change that function. And then you have your on-off switch that can go from off to single to continuous and to the self-timer. Then on the back you don't have the little turning wheel anymore that you used to have on the M9 or on the M monochrome. In the middle you have an info button that at the same time serves as a selector button, which is kind of confusing because for that you also have the set button. Then you have the menu button, the ISO button, the delete button, the play button, and the live view button. For the ISO button, any changes you want to make, you will have to keep it pushed. So even to move within the settings, you will have to keep the button pushed. If you don't push it, that's it. It will go off. In the menu, it doesn't. You press it once and then you go through the menu. The menu is split in 4 areas that you recognize by this bar. It's a little clearer than the one you had in the monochrome or in the M9. And you have lens detection, self-timer. You change the time of the self-timer in this area. Then you have the light metering mode, advanced, classic, or classic live view disabled. I will get into that at the end of this video. Then you can set your exposure bracketing. You can set your flash sync mode. You can set auto slow sync for flash photography. Then in the second part of the menu, you have your image related settings. So you have your sharpness, saturation, contrast, film mode. You don't have many options for film mode. You have no film mode, so basically it will compress the JPEGs in the standard way. You have vivid color film, smooth color film, and black and white. Then you have your color space, sRGB or Adobe RGB. Then you have your DNG compression, your digital negative compression, so you can deliver them compressed or uncompressed. In the third area of the menu, you have your visual settings, so you have your monitor brightness, your electronic viewfinder brightness, because you can put up an electronic viewfinder onto this camera. It slides into the hot shoe and connects through this little connector in the back. Oh, menu went off. Then you have your frame line color. You can set the frame line color in the optical viewfinder, in the rangefinder, to different colors. You can have it white or red. You can set the focus peaking. The focus peaking is also something that I will talk about at the end of this video. You can set it to different colors. You can set it to off, red, blue, or green. Probably that's quite useful depending on the situation you're in. If you have a predominant color of the subject you're taking pictures of, you will prefer to have the focus peaking set to a different color from that. Then you have the focus aid, and this is a nice little thing about the M-P. You can set it to automatic, and that will basically, as soon as you start turning your manual focus ring on the lens, I suppose it's recognized by the movement within the rangefinder system. It will automatically magnify the image if you're in live view. So that helps focusing. Then you have your histogram that can be set to standard or RGB. You can define your clipping parameters, and you can set your auto review time from basically permanent to off. And then in the fourth area of this, you have your copyright information. You have your image numbering settings, so basically the more hardware-related things, like or more like hard-coded things. The horizon that you can set in the live view finder, in the live view display. You can set the camera to clean sensor, which does not mean that the camera will actually do something except for stay open and leave the shutter, basically the shutter open for you to blow off the dust. So you have to be careful with that. The GPS function that you could set here will depend on having the optional grip that contains the GPS chip. Then you can set the audio settings for the video functions to audio adjustment, where you can set different presets, and then you have wind elimination off, medium, or strong. And then you have the exposure simulation that you can set here, and then in number 5 you have your auto power off, date and time setting, acoustic signal that you can set, language settings, the USB mode that you prefer when you connect the camera to a computer. But even there, since the camera itself, the camera body, does not have a USB connection anymore, that is probably only limited to the case where you have a grip. Then you can reset all the settings, you can format the SD card, and here it gives you the firmware information. So this is a run through the menu settings. In addition to the menu settings, you also have the ISO settings, and you also have the set menu. It's just like a sub menu, where you can set certain things that probably are the ones that are deemed to be more frequently changed, even though I personally do not agree, because I mean things like the JPEG resolution and the file format are something that probably you will set once for yourself, for your own preferences, and not change them too often. And then you have the exposure metering, and that is one thing that I will also like to discuss in connection with the menu settings and the camera itself. You can set user presets. and every time you change something, even things, small things like exposure compensation, it will flip out of the preset. So the preset is something that is really fixed, and then as soon as you change something, even temporarily, it will not go back into the preset you have predetermined. And there is something about this double menu, where you have your menu with many functions, and at the same time you also have your set menu, so it's another menu with functions that in other cameras would be more or less connected to the standard menu. For example, the ISO settings, white balance settings, video recording settings. There are certain video functions that are in the normal menu, and some are like this, the recording, the settings for the recording are in the set menu. I have no idea why Leica chose to distribute them like this. It's not a quick menu or something like that. You cannot change the functions that are set here. It's just, you know, basically split into two different areas. At the same time, you have to move out of the menu to go to the set menu. So you get out of there and into this one. So basically, these are the things that I thought were relevant for a first look at the camera. The camera works really well. The image quality is great. It's definitely what you can expect from a camera like this. As with many other evaluations of the Leica M, of the digital M's, it's hard to compare them to any other digital camera. They're just something on their own, and you either want it or you don't want it. There's nowhere in between where you could say, yes, it compares to a Sony A7 or to a Nikon or to a Canon. You either want a Leica rangefinder camera, digital or not, or you don't want it. So this is the choice you will have to make, not so much whether it's this or another digital camera. I will make another short video soon where I tell you about some things I do not like about it. It's small things and it's more setting related, so I'll keep you posted on that because I want to tell you my real impressions of this camera. Thank you very much and hope to see you back here soon. Bye bye.